Welcome back. Today we are going to proceed from where we left. That's Genesis chapter 30, verse 25. We ended the video at just exactly verse 25. Genesis chapter 30, verse 25. Now, Jacob bargains with Laban. And we read, And it came to pass when Rachel had born Joseph, that Jacob said unto Laban, Send me away, that I may go unto mine own place and to my country. Give me my wives and my children, for whom I have served thee, and let me go, for thou knowest my service which I have done thee. And Laban said unto him, I pray thee, if I have found favor in thine eyes, tarry, for I have learned by experience that the Lord hath blessed me for thy sake. So here Laban confesses and prays to Jacob. Okay. And he says a very interesting statement here. If I have found favor in thine eyes, tarry, for I have learned by experience that the Lord hath blessed me for thy sake. Laban can sense that Jacob carries the spirit of God, or God is in Jacob, and is looking for favor in the eyes of Jacob, courtesy of God, in that perspective. All right. And through experience, he has learned that God has blessed him because of Jacob. And this is only confessed by Laban when Jacob decides enough is enough. May you reach that point where you've decided enough is enough, and you need that breakthrough. You need that deliverance from whichever trouble is pursuing you. Verse 28, And he said, Appoint me thy wages, and I will give it. And he said unto him, Thou knowest how I have served thee, and how thy cattle was with me. For it was little which thou hadst before I came, and it is now increased unto a multitude, and the Lord hath blessed thee since my coming. And now when shall I provide for my own house also? And he said, What shall I give thee? And Jacob said, Thou shalt not give me anything. If thou wilt do this thing for me, I will again feed and keep thy flock. Now Jacob is realizing what he is carrying. May you reach that point. Very important point. Verse 32, I will pass through all thy flock today, removing from thence all the speckled and spotted cattle, and all the brown cattle among the sheep, and the spotted and the speckled among the goats, and of such shall be my hire. Verse 33, So shall my righteousness answer for me in time to come, when it shall come for my hire before thy face. Everyone that is not speckled and spotted among the goats, and brown among the sheep, that shall be counted stolen with me. Listen, number 34. And Laban said, Behold, I would it might be according to thy word. Now look at what Laban still continues to do. Verse 35. And he removed that day. And he removed when? That day. The he-goats that were ring-streaked and spotted, and all the she-goats that were speckled and spotted, and everyone that had some white in it, and all the brown among the sheep, and did what? And gave them into the hand of his own sons, Verse 36. And he set 3 days' journey betwixt himself and Jacob fed the rest of Laban's flocks. This, if I look at let me just read for you so you can get, because Laban has done something here, and he's noted that He's now moving. He's chosen to move with the wind of Jacob. Whatever Jacob has proposed, he will go with that. What do I mean? He's wondering why has Jacob decided to select this particular characteristics of flock, and he decided to take those ones and give to the son. Listen what the commentary here says. Between verse 25 and 36. Jacob, now with a dozen children and 4 wives, but very little else, demanded release from his responsibilities in Laban's household, so he could return to his homeland, where he would be the head of a wealthy clan. Though Jacob was poor, Laban's wealth had increased because of the Lord had blessed him through Jacob, just as the Lord had promised. Laban, who had learned by the forbidden practice of divination, quoted in Leviticus 19:26, that God had blessed him because of Jacob, realized the great advantages of keeping Jacob around. So he offered to pay Jacob whatever wages he would name. Jacob asked for 2 things: the right to continue to keep Laban's flock, and all of Laban's sheep and goats that had rare and unusual markings. Laban readily agreed to the terms, but virtually assured Jacob's financial failure by removing from the flocks every animal that possessed the traits Jacob had specified. To guarantee that Jacob could not use them in breeding, he drove them 3 days' journey, this is between 40 and 50 miles away, and put his own sons in charge of them. You see, as if whatever he had done to Jacob is not enough, he still made sure that Jacob had no way of making more wealth. But now Laban forgot that in Jacob, God is in Jacob, in spirit. Laban forgot that. And then Laban wanted to make the rules of the game very hard for Jacob to prosper. But then again, it's not about the enemy, it's about God who is in Jacob. Because no matter what the scenario, or no matter how the rules of the game are changing, let me put like that. No matter how the world will change the rules of the game upon your life, so far as God is in you, and you've nurtured that relationship together, you will always succeed no matter what. Look at these people, they are succeeding in a land that is very hostile spiritually. And they will still succeed in various lands where they need to dig wells and they find water, and the rest are not finding. So no matter how the rules of the games are changing, you will always succeed. No matter who wants to change the rules of the game. It's like a football, then it's 90 minutes. So then someone comes and says, no, we are going to double the time. And you keep on playing, but if you are meant to win, you will win, right? That's the scenario here. The lesson you pick here is no matter how the rules of the game are changing, you will always succeed so far as you have God in you and by your side. Most importantly, if you've nurtured that relationship between God and you, through Jesus Christ, that kind of thing. Now let's look at what Jacob does after these very interesting actions of Laban. Verse 37 of the same Genesis chapter 30. And Jacob took him rods of green poplar, and of the hazel and chestnut tree, and peeled white streaks in them, and made the white appear which was in the rods. And he set the rods which he had peeled before the flocks in the watering troughs, when the flocks came to drink, that they should conceive when they came to drink. And the flocks conceived before the rods, and brought forth cattle ring-struck, speckled, and spotted. And Jacob did separate the lambs, and set the faces of the flocks toward the ring-struck, and all the brown in the flock of Laban, and he put his own flocks by themselves, and put them not unto Laban's cattle. And it came to pass, whensoever the stronger cattle did conceive, that Jacob laid the rods before the eyes of the cattle in the gutters, and they might conceive among the rods. But when the cattle were feeble, he put them not in, so the feebler were Laban's, and the stronger Jacob's. And the man increased exceedingly, and had much cattle, and maidservants, and menservants, and camels, and asses. So here Jacob is applying wisdom to maneuver through the flock that he has, and to increase them by way of conception. given that today is 20 or 2nd December 2024, and I don't know your time, when time passes, whether today I can say in the comments section or as you proceed to subscribe to the channels or follow, and as you're sharing in the comment section, if one of you, I would like to for you to check whether if any one of you has ever practiced such a thing as who is a farmer who's done something like this Jacob is doing here, whether you've done it physically with your own flock, and whether you have had such results. You can let us know. Then we can interact and see what was your experience with the wisdom that Jacob applied to his own cattle, and whether they will multiply, right? But this is I don't know whether in future there will be comment sections. I don't know, but I'd really like to know your experiences with this verse 37, between verse 37 and 43. But this is a strategy which Jacob uses to increase the stock. Now this one applies to flock only, but now this is wisdom given to Jacob by God. You might your rules of the game might be, the condition. Let me just give you a nice picture. Economic conditions might change per country, per whatever. No matter how hard the economy is, there are still people who are succeeding in that economy. May you get the wisdom from God to succeed in whichever economy, no matter how hard the economy is, no matter how the rules of the games are changing. A friend of mine always says, in the jungle, the lion will always eat, will always be carnivorous. You'll never find, no matter how hard the conditions of the drought is, the lion will always be carnivorous, will only eat flesh. You'll never find the lion eating grass, no matter how hard times are. You understand? So this section of that 743 teaches you wisdom and assures you that no matter how hard the rules of the games are changing, God will always give you a solution to survive and multiply. And look at number 43, verse 43. And the man increased exceedingly, and had much cattle, and maid servants, and men servants, and camels, and asses. Remember what Genesis chapter 30, verse 31 says. And he said, what shall I give thee? And Jacob said, thou shalt not give me anything. If thou wilt do this thing for me, I will again feed and keep thy flock. I will still serve you, and I still get blessed. You will not give me anything. But look at verse 43. And the man increased exceedingly, and had much cattle, and maid servants, and men servants, and camel and asses, which are donkeys. How? The rules of the game were changed, and he changed them in the spirit. And you'll see what revelations he had regarding this. Let us jump to Genesis chapter 31. And he heard the words of Laban's son, saying, now this is envy. Jacob has taken away all that was our father's. How? And of that which was our father's hath he gotten all this glory. What a lie. And Jacob beheld the countenance of Laban, and behold, it was not toward him as before. He sensed now there was bitterness in Laban and the household of Laban. This is a scenario is different from the ones in where Abraham had experience with the king of Gerar, that is Abimelech. Isaac had experienced the king of Gerar, that's Abimelech, where both times both individuals succeeded, and they grew territorially in terms of in wealth. But this king would come and acknowledge, look, instead of let's make peace instead of war. But these guys decided otherwise. They don't acknowledge that this man is blessed. Now that is what is happening in Genesis chapter 31, verse 1. Now look at let's proceed from verse 2. And Jacob beheld the countenance of Laban, and behold, it was not toward him as before. Children of God, or if I say men and women of God, or people of God, whichever term is comfortable with you. When God is in you, you will be blessed, whether you like it or not. You are the only one who will decide not to get blessed if you decide to leave God. Now that's number one. Number two, when God is with you, people will envy you. That is a fact. Because it is so difficult for people to achieve things which is very easy for you to do. So if you are in a position where you're not being envied and you're not being hated on mostly because you have carried up, then you have to ask yourself whether you really have God in you, because these are the fruits of having to move with God. You move, I move with you. Because you'll get a lot of haters in this perspective. People will really hate you. It's a fact. Look at Jesus. When he was crucified, he was alone. So this is whatever is happening to Jacob here with the relatives. Prepare for it if you want this kind of success. And when it happens, don't cry, because it's part of the characteristics of being blessed, right? Now look at verse 3. And the Lord said unto Jacob, return unto thy land of thy fathers and to thy kindred, and I will be with thee. What happened next? The Lord did what? The Lord said unto Jacob. That is the most important thing. Today, what is God saying to you? What instruction is God giving you? This one today is being given an instruction, being told, return unto the land of thy fathers and to thy kindred, and I will be with thee. That was an instruction which Jacob now has to follow. Number 4, and Jacob sent and called Rachel and Leah to the field unto his flock, and said unto them, I see your father's countenance that is not toward me as before, but the God of my father hath been with me. Important. The God of my father had been with me. Now he knows. Now he knows. And ye know that, verse 6, and ye know that with all my power I have served your father. That's a fact. And your father had deceived me and changed my wages 10 times. But God suffered him not to hurt me. Protection. If he said thus, the speckled shall be thy wages, then all the cattle bear speckled. And if he said thus, the ring-strocked shall be thy hire, then bear all the cattle ring-strocked. They are all marked. Thus God hath taken away the cattle of your father and given them to me, in the spirit and in physical. And it came to pass at the time that the cattle conceived that I lifted up mine eyes, and saw in a dream, and behold, the rams which leaped upon the cattle were ring-strocked, speckled, and grizzled. What happened? It came to pass at the time that the cattle conceived that I lifted up my eyes and saw in a dream. In where? In a dream. It's another realm of operation of the kingdom of God. And behold, the rams which I leaped upon the cattle were ring-strocked, speckled, and grizzled. Verse 11, and the angel of God spake unto me in a dream, saying, Jacob, and I said, Here I am. What happened? The angel of God spoke to Jacob in a dream, saying, Jacob, and he said, Here I am. People with the Spirit of God move in the dream like this, and business is being transacted in the realms of the Spirit, in the dream, where you call dreamland. So you see things before they happen. I don't know of any other better intelligence than that. For free. Of course, with terms and conditions which have to apply. No sinning the other. Okay, verse 11, and the angel of God spake unto me in a dream, saying, Jacob, and I said, Here I am, here am I. Verse 12, and he said, Lift up now thine eyes, and see all the rams which leap upon the cattle are ring-strocked, speckled, and grizzled, for I have seen all that Laban doeth unto thee. The most important part is that the angel of God has seen have seen all that Laban doeth unto thee. So, as the rules of the games are changing, God is in watch. He's watching, so you're not alone. God is seeing every place you're going through trouble. God is with you. God can see. You just need to be patient and persevere until he comes to you. He came to Jacob in the dream and gave him a solution. Kingdom of God business is being transacted in the realm of the Spirit. like such a scenario here in the dream. All right. I am the God, verse 13. I am the God of Bethel. You remember Bethel? Where thou anointest the pillar, and where thou vowedst a vow unto me. Now, you remember now God is reminding him of the vow. Now arise, get thee out from this land, and return unto the land of thy kindred. And Rachel and Leah answered and said unto him, Is there yet any portion or inheritance for us in our father's house? Question mark. Verse 15. Are we not counted of him strangers? For he hath all sold us, and hath quite devoured also our money. This Laban, what quite a character this one, eh? If you have a Laban in your family, I pray that you get out of it. May you be, you just need deliverance. God needs to pick you and remove you from that particular place. Because this is quite some suffering. These people had to endure for a lot of years. This man is not getting full. He just continue eating. You finish everything. Even even the dowry and everything, it quite devoured also our money. Look at verse 16. For all the riches which God had taken from our father, that is ours and our children's. Now then, whatsoever God hath said unto thee, do. Even now the wives and the women are now in one accord. We are moving. Verse 17. Then Jacob rose up and set his sons and his wives upon camels. And he carried away all his cattle and all his goods which he had gotten, the cattle of his getting which he had gotten in Padan Aram, for to go to Isaac his father in the land of Canaan. And Laban went to shear his sheep, and Rachel had stolen the images that were her father's. And Jacob stole away unawares to Laban the Syrian in that he told him not that he... And Jacob stole away unawares to Laban the Syrian, in that he told him not that he fled. All right. So he fled with all that he had, and he rose up and passed over the river and set his face toward the Mount Gilead. Will you remain? You will run also. Run. Run for your lives. Run. It's also funny how people get out of Canaan and go back to Canaan. So Canaan gets to be tough, people run out of Canaan. Canaan, where they go, it becomes more tougher than Canaan, and go back to Canaan. It's just very interesting because even Jacob now will take people to Egypt. And people will still run from Egypt to Canaan. The journey to the promised land. Alright? I want to teach you something important here. If you have your place of calling or your place of service, institutionally, whichever is the church, whatever, your place of training, where you found God, your Bethel, and that is where you start serving, and you're learning of the kingdom of God and the Bible and everything. Stick there until your opportune time comes for you to go and be divided the way Abraham did to Ishmael, and the way Isaac did to Jacob. All right, because at the end of the day, no matter what happens, you'll go back there, continue the lesson. All right, it's home in terms of spirit. So for those who are in the higher realms, those who are maybe pastors or bishops or whatever, you understand what I mean. So never you leave, always have a rope that is tied to your waist, that is tied to your place of birth, or in terms of roots. We are not calling it a foundation, like you need to break it, but it's a link that allows you to keep on learning from where you first started your first lesson. So it's a link to tie you, so that it's like a ship that is floating. So you have to put an anchor so that your ship, as it's floating, doesn't float away. Only keeps that position that is grounded. So it's a grounding factor. Yes, you can travel to settle in any other, but always keep that line, so that it's the way when You see this in a lot of movies where, or scenarios where, or even in the prodigal son, the New Testament, where on the east or west, home is the best scenario, or where you find that when life is too hard, you just go back home to your father and mother, despite the age that how old you are. You understand? That's the thing. So even in the spirit, it's the same. The same happens to apply, and that is why here you see God saying to Jacob in Genesis chapter 31 verse 3, and the Lord said unto Jacob, return unto the land of thy fathers, return unto the land of thy fathers, unto thy kindred, and I will be with thee. The land of thy fathers, the land of thy kindred, and that is where God will be with you. Because if you don't do that, if you don't have that line, then you will always be a bastard, or if I may use that word, you'll be fatherless, or you'll have no cover, no one to speak for you when you're down. So always keep that link with you, and don't forget the first place that you encountered God. It is very important, because that place is a place where you started learning about the Bible and everything. So always keep that line. There's an aspect of the Bible that is geared towards that. All right, calls for a lot of loyalty and all that. So you have to be loyal to where your home is, in terms of where you started learning, the Bible the right way. All right, let's look at verse 22 now. They are running back home. And it was told to Laban on the third day that Jacob was fled. On the third day, a long time. And he took his brethren with him and pursued after him 7 days' journey. And they overtook him in the Mount Gilead. And God came to Laban the Syrian in a dream by night, and said unto him, take heed that thou speak not to Jacob either good or bad. Hey, don't cross that line. Don't cross that line. So when people who are walking with God, they will have protection. Does Jacob know he's being run after? Might be, but does Jacob know the true intentions of Laban? No. It's an enemy that is kind of coming in this perspective, but now God is warning the enemies without even Jacob knowing. Jacob is not aware of God, of this part of God speaking to Laban the Syrian. Very interesting, right? So here Laban is being warned by God in a dream. Spiritual transactions are happening in the dream. All your enemies will be spoken to in the dream. Leave that man, leave that woman, leave that family. Please continue to serve God and have God in you for this kind of protection to prevail upon your lives for eternity, for free. But you have a role to play. And one of those roles is learning this text. Now, speak not to Jacob either good or bad. Don't speak to that man either good or bad. Keep your mouth shut. The warning was done to Laban. He's a creation of God. He has no other choice other than to obey the Creator. Because whomever Jacob is serving is the Creator of the universe. There's no one above the Creator. There is no enemy. There's no game that will be changed. There are no rules of the game that will change so much that the Creator of the universe will not know. Right? So this verse is very powerful for you. Then Laban overtook Jacob. Now Jacob had pitched his tent in the mount, and Laban with his brethren pitched in the mount of Gilead. And Laban said to Jacob, what hast thou done that thou hast stolen away unawares to me, and carried away my daughters as captives taken with the sword? Wherefore didst thou flee away secretly and steal away from me, and didst not tell me that I might have sent thee away with me, mirth and with songs, with tabret and with harp? Now Laban is playing politics, and has not suffered me to kiss my sons and daughters. Thou hast now done foolishly in so doing. Verse 29, it is in the power of my hand to do you hurt, So Laban was coming to war. On top of the many years he has oppressed these people, now he's coming to kill this man. But look at what happened. It is in the power of my hand to do you hurt. But the God of your father spake unto me yesterday night, saying, Take thou heed that thou speak not to Jacob either good or bad. But he has spoken bad, technically. And now, though thou wouldest needs be gone, because thou so longest after thy father's house, yet wherefore hast thou stolen my gods? So now there's an accusation of gods with a small g, where Laban is now pursuing the gods. Because Laban, is not a Christian, if I may say, or he does not believe in this God of Jacob. He has other gods, so a divination and all that manner. And Jacob answered and said to Laban, Because I was afraid, for I said, Peradventure thou wouldst take by force thy daughters from me, and he would have done it. Quite Laban of character, eh? With whomsoever thou findest thy gods, let him not live. Before our brethren discern thou what is thine with me, and take it to thee. For Jacob knew not that Rachel had stolen them. So Rachel has stolen these gods. Now, it's a funny character, this Rachel, because I thought he had learned that he didn't need gods after he was given the two, Joseph and Benjamin, the children. Why would he steal gods? And I think this act, gave a monitoring spirit aspect for Laban to trace these people. Keep these idols away from your lives. If you have them in your houses and whatever, just throw them away, ban them. Seek divine help from a right church. You don't need them. So, and Laban went, verse 33, and Laban went into Jacob's tent and into Leah's tent and into the two maidservants' tents, but he found them not. Then went he out of Leah's tent and entered into Rachel's tent. Now Rachel had taken the images and put them in the camel's furniture and sat upon them, and Laban searched all the tent, but found them not. Rachel decided to be smarter than the father. And she said to her father, Let it not displease my lord that I cannot rise up before thee, for the custom of women is upon me. And he searched, but found not the images. On top of that, he still searched. What a character this Laban is. Let's just leave that part like that, because what can we comment on that? Verse 36. So now here Jacob is confronting Laban, because now Jacob is quite pissed. And Jacob was wroth and showed with Laban. And Jacob answered and said to Laban, What is my trespass? What is my sin that has so hotly pursued after me? Whereas thou hast searched all my stuff, what hast thou found of all the household stuff? Set it therefore before my brethren and thy brethren, that they may judge betwixt us both. These 20 years have I been with thee, thy ewes and thy she-goats have not cast their young, and the rams of thy flocks have I not eaten. That which was torn of beasts I brought unto thee, I bear the loss of it. Of my hand didst thou require it, whether stolen by day or stolen by night. This is the worst scenario of employment I've ever seen. Thus have I been 20 years, there are no labor rules here playing. Verse 41, verse 40, Thus I was, in the day the drought consumed me and the frost by night, and my sleep departed from mine eyes. Thus I have been 20 years in thy house, I served thee 14 years for thy 2 daughters, and 6 years for thy cattle, and thou hast changed my wages 10 times. This verse 41 is dangerous, and I pray for all of you, may you not end in this pit. It's very sad, and for all of you who are employed, I pray that you don't find yourself in this pit of verse 41. May God open your doors to find favor. May you find favor in the eyes of God. It's an honest prayer. Verse 42, Except the God of my father, the God of Abraham, and the fear of Isaac, had been with me, surely thou hadst sent me away now empty. Because that's the only thing that I'm telling about. The difference here is that now Jacob has someone. You are not alone if you believe in Jesus Christ. You're not alone. Because the God of Isaac, the God of Abraham, and the fear of Isaac. When he says the fear of Isaac, is a fear of the father who is now capable of controlling the future of this man by way of words, by way of prophecy, by way of blessing. So this is the fear of the one who is in Isaac. That's the fear of God, right? Sure, God had, verse 42, let's complete it. God had seen mine affliction and the labor of my hands and rebuked thee yesternight. If you are in this trap or pit, may God do this thing that he did to Jacob. May God visit your oppressors so that judgment may be passed, so that you may be set free. This thing is happening now, and it's happening in so many levels, and it's happening to a lot of women mostly, where there's employment which is now on paper is very good, but in the backside it's something that's now gender-based violence and all that. It's a sad thing, and I pray that God will remember you. It's an honest prayer. Okay? May God protect our men and women at work. Right? Because it's just slavery. Pure as that. Okay, let's proceed to verse 43. And Laban answered and said unto Jacob, these daughters are mine. No, he doesn't even apologize. But he answered and now goes to still owning whatever Jacob has. These daughters are my daughters, and these children are my children, and these cattle are my cattle, and all that thou sayest is mine. And what can I do this day unto these my daughters, or unto their children which they have born? How would he say they are his, yet dowry was done? Can you see it now? Can you see the oppression? It's unlawful, Verse 44, now therefore come thou, let us make a covenant, I and you, I and thou, and let it be for a witness between me and thee. And Jacob took a stone. Now he wants now a covenant. For what? For what? What is the purpose? And Jacob took a stone and set it up for a pillar. And Jacob said unto his brethren, gather stones, and they took stone. And Jacob was tired by this guy, man. And made an heap, and they did eat up there upon the heap. And Laban called it Jegara Sahadutha, but Jacob called it Galid. The word Jegara Sahuda is a sacred stone, or Galid is a mound of witness. The heap and the pillar. It is just a mode of place it's like a fixed place where you say, this is where we did our deal. And Laban said, this heap is a witness between me and thee this day. Therefore was the name of it called Galid. And Mizpah, for he said, the Lord watch between me and thee when we are absent one from another. Verse 49. If thou shalt afflict my daughters, or if thou shalt take other wives besides my daughters, no man is with us. See, God is witness betwixt me and thee. He's still owning these people, still want to control. And Laban said to Jacob, behold this heap, and behold this pillar, which I have cast betwixt me and thee. This heap be witness, and this pillar be witness, that I will not pass over this heap to thee, and that thou shalt not pass over this heap, this pillar unto me for harm. So Laban now knew Laban has detected that the eyes of Jacob have opened, And now Jacob, if you look at verse 36 to 42, the eyes of Jacob have opened. Jacob has realized that he has been living a trap for all these years. And Jacob has spoken. Jacob has lamented. Jacob has been angry. Jacob wants the change. May you reach that point where your eyes are open. May God open your eyes so that you know you are in a pit and you need to get out of it. Because if you decide to get out of it, God will hold your hand and you move. May God open your eyes to that level. And your enemies will look at you and they will see that this man now knows. He's awakened. He knows. And they will set you free. On top of that, they make a deal with you. That you don't harm them because they know they had wronged you. That is why Laban was making this covenant. So Laban knew that he cannot fight Jacob. No, he knew. He's been warned in a dream. So what happens? Laban wants to do a barrier, a covenant that tells Jacob, do not come to harm me. Jacob has no business harming this guy. But anyway, there's a covenant here, so he had to make it. Verse 53, the God of Abraham and the God of Nahor, the God of their father, judge betwixt us. And Jacob swore by the fear of his father Isaac. Then Jacob offered sacrifice upon the mount and called his brethren to eat bread, and they did eat bread and tarried all night in the mountain. And early in the morning Laban rose up and kissed his sons and his daughters and blessed them, and Laban departed and returned unto his place. There is something here Laban has transacted. But Laban has decided to do it the last day. If you are a parent, bless your children early so they can bless you early. Why would Laban wait till the last day? To do what? To bless the children. Because I don't think they'll have this interaction again. It's not. We have no record of such. Unless maybe we find. But this is the point where he decides to bless them. No matter how harsh the father is, he still carry a blessing for them. He gave birth to the children. So he gave birth to the two daughters. So he holds a blessing for them. Just bless your children and let them go. Bless them. Because when they go, it's like a ball hitting a wall. You throw it away, it can bounce back. What goes around comes around. Like when you bless them, they'll bless you. You will get old. You are 40 today. Yes, your children will be 40 one day. That will be double for you. You will be 80. Why? What's the point of holding on to things such as blessing? Bless your children early and set them out. Let them not suffer. Give them what they need. Help them. And remember, parenting never stops. Okay? Verse 55 says, and early in the morning Laban rose up and kissed his sons and his daughters and blessed them, and Laban departed and returned unto his place. Okay? Right? And returned unto his place. We'll end there today, so that now, because I wanted just us to end with the drama of Laban completely, so that now we can begin chapter 32 and now focus on now Jacob as he's going back to meet the brother Esau, because that will be a very nice journey that we are going to cover. Okay, I don't know whether I can compress it in this video. It'll be so much fun. Let me try. 43, you can try for about 20 minutes. Let's try. And Jacob went Genesis chapter 32. Let's now jump. We are done with Laban. Genesis chapter 32. And Jacob went on his way, and the angels of God met him. You see now, the angels of God never met him. physically when he was under bondage. That was his temptation period. Now he has learned. And Jacob went on his way, and the angels of God met him physically. And when Jacob saw them, he said, "This is God's host." And he called the name of that place Mahanaim. See how easy it is now for him to see angels. Because he's no longer interrupted by trouble. He's no longer in the pit. He's now delivered. Okay. Mahanaim means two camps. Probably because there were people and the angels at the same location. And Jacob sent messengers before him to Esau, his brother, and to the land of Seir, the country of Edom. And he commanded them, saying, "Thus shall ye speak unto my lord Esau." See how he's calling now his brother Esau, my lord, with respect, because he's been humbled in the land of Laban. There's no more games. There's no more being called Jacob. Servant Jacob said thus, "I have sojourned with Laban and stayed there until now. And I have oxen and asses, flocks and men servants and women servants, and I have sent to tell my lord, that I may find grace in thy sight." Verse 6. And the messengers returned to Jacob, saying, "We came to thy brother Esau, and also he came to meet thee, and 400 men with him." Then Jacob was greatly afraid and distressed, and he divided the people that was with him, and the flocks and herds and the camels into two bands, and said, "If Esau come to the one company and smite it, then the other company which is left shall escape." This man is trying to make peace with the brother. So there's always an aspect of fear because of what he had done to the brother. But remember, time has resolved the matter. And this was mentioned by the father way back, about mentioning the yoke of Isaac being overcome on some sort. Verse 9, and Jacob said, "O God of my father Abraham, and God of my father Isaac, the Lord which says unto me, Return unto thy country, and do thy kindred, and I will deal well with thee. I am not worthy of the least of all the mercies and of all the truth which thou hast showed unto thy servant. For with my staff I have passed over this Jordan, and now I am become two bands. Deliver me, I pray thee, from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau, for I fear him lest he will come and smite me, and the mother with the children. And thou saidst, I will surely do thee good, and make thy seed as the hand of the sea, which cannot be numbered for multitude." So here Jacob is making a prayer to God because of a very, very sensitive mission to meet Esau. And he lodged there that same night, and took of that which came to his hand a present for Esau his brother, 200 she-goats and 20 he-goats, 200 ewes and 20 rams, 30 milch camels with their colts, 40 kine and 10 bulls, 20 she-asses and 10 foals. And he delivered them into the hand of his servants, every drove by themselves, and said unto his servants, "Pass over before me, and put a space betwixt drove and drove." And he commanded the foremost, saying, When Esau my brother meted thee, and asked thee, saying, Whose art thou, and whither goest thou, and whose are these before thee? Then thou shalt say, They be thy servant Jacob's. It is a present sent unto my lord Esau, and behold, also he is behind us. And so commanded he the second, and the third, and all that followed the droves, saying, On this manner shall ye speak unto Esau when ye find him. And say ye moreover, Behold, thy servant Jacob is behind us, for he said, I will appease him with the present that goeth before me, and afterward I will see his face, peradventure he will accept of me. So when the present over before him, and himself lodged that night in the company. And he rose up that night, and took his 2 wives and his 2 women servants, and his 11 sons, and passed over the ford Jabbok. And he took them and sent them over the brook, and sent over that he had. So he sent them the other side, alright? Okay? So this is a strategy which he was using for mercy, so that now when Esau will see children, like before meeting him, he will find mercy. Jacob is seeking mercy. Now, because he himself remained back to check whether the anger or the brother is still active or not. But to see what happens now, as he's now on this side. And Jacob was left alone. Very important. And there wrestled Laban with him until the breaking of the day. When you are a man of God and you are alone, then you are able to commune with God. The Spirit of God is in you. Then you see statements like the angels were ministering to Jesus when he was alone. Such statements, right, in the New Testament. So this one is alone and he's meditating, and now God has come, or with this being from God. Okay, it's a form of God. It's like God. And when he saw that he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh, and the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint as he wrestled with him. The wrestling here is like, it's not fighting, it's like it's like a push and pull. It's like push and pull of this man and this guy, spirit. It's like Jacob wants more to know. It's like an inquisitive manner. It's a seeking God kind of scenario. He won't let this guy go until he gets something, because he knows what value it is to get this person from heaven to here physical. So that's the wrestle. Okay, it's like life where you're the wrestle of. It's like the wrestle of getting to know God. You're seeking him every day until that day where he comes and gets you on board and changes your story immediately, because you have not let it go. Knock and the door shall be open. That scenario. That is what is happening here. The push and pull, push and pull. You're knocking. You want to know what is in heaven. You want to know. It's like now you're following this. You want to know. We've dug into the kingdom of God and the word. We want to know. Until now we are able to teach it. Our story has changed. When we knew it. That is the wrestle Jacob is doing here. So now this guy, he touched the hollow by respect. He touched the hollow of his this man. Now let me put respect to it. He touched the hollow of his thigh, and the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint as he wrestled with him. So he now touched him so that he can now be less powerful, so that he can limp a bit, so that he okay, it's enough. We've done it for too long. It's okay, just relax now. It's okay. I got you. Just relax, right? But that's the point where he decided to, so that he could now stand up. He can now limp a bit, and he can let go. It's like a Tower of Babel where you're building, but now it's okay. You've come so far. Relax. That's the thing that's the thing that's happening here. Okay. And he said, "Let me go, for the day breaketh," because it's getting morning. Because this is business happening in the night. And he said, "I will not let thee go except thou bless me." He knew what he wanted, the blessing, and how powerful it was. And he said unto him, "What is thy name?" And he said, "Jacob." Because this man was very interesting. And he said, "Thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel, for as a prince hast thou power with God and with men, and hast prevailed." He has passed the test. May you pass your test. You can never skip that class. You have to fight until you pass the test. And when you pass the test of God in the kingdom of God, you can't skip it. Jacob would not have skipped the scenario with Laban. He had to go through it so he can reach this point and to pass the test. That's the point of temptation. You look at the book of Job, same story. You look at Jesus Christ, same story. Each one of us has the same story. You have to go through. If you are in that point, please persevere. It's part of it. May you get strength to move through it. Persevere, and finish the test. You can't jump it. So, and Jacob asked him and said, "Tell me, I pray thee, thy name." And he said, "Wherefore is it that thou dost ask for after my name?" And he blessed him there. And Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, for I have seen God face to face, and my life is preserved. And as he passed over Peniel, the sun rose upon him, and he altered upon his thigh. Therefore the children of Israel eat not of the sinew which shrank, which is upon the hollow of the thigh unto this day, because he touched the hollow of Jacob's thigh in the sinew that shrank. It's an honorable thing to make memory of that. The word Israel, meaning he struggled, and the Yithre with God, El. So that's the thing, as well as with men. So he's a struggle with God. That's how we get now the name Israel, because of this activity. So the change of the name is because, why is the name changing? Because of an activity that was done by Jacob. He decided to push through and fight and fight and fight and get something. So the activity of push and pull for the blessing changed the name. The name does not come just, okay, your name is this, let's change it, let's take a rubber and rub it. No, your name changes because of what you have gone through and how you have persevered it. That changes your name. Cyrus the Great is becoming the Great because of what he has accomplished, not just because of sitting down on a chair. The name changes because of what you've done. The man who pulled up beside, I don't know, story like that. The woman with the issue of blood, that one changes her name to the woman of the issue of blood. She had a name on her identification documents. That now we know the woman of the issue of blood. The situation changes your name. So this situation has changed the name from Jacob to Israel. And you will see the meaning of Israel as that struggle with the God, the men, that one. That changes the name of a person. Okay? But men of God like Moses will come and change people's name depending on what they have accomplished. This is accomplished, that kind of thing. Right? Almost done. Genesis chapter 33. And Jacob lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, Esau came, and with him 400 men. And he divided their children unto Leah and unto Rachel and unto the 2 handmaids. And he put the handmaids and their children foremost, and Leah and her children after, and Rachel and Joseph hindermost. Mentioning of Joseph here is very important because it will play a key role in the next chapters. And he passed over before them and bowed himself to the ground 7 times until he came near to his brother. What has happened between Genesis chapter 32, between verse 24 to 27, 28 to 32, has made Jacob have courage to face his brother without fear. I mean, the guy was wrestling God in the other part, and he won, and he succeeded, and the name is now changed. So if now, and if Esau knows the new name of Jacob, then he understands the name that man is great. He has wrestled with God. Who can he fear now? You shall have no fear in your life in the name of Jesus Christ. You shall wrestle with your troubles till you finish your period of temptation. You shall persevere in the name of Jesus Christ. Now he's bowing the ground 7 times until he came near to his brother. Humility. Because when you carry God now, you're humble. You have everything. You remain humble now. And Esau ran to meet him and embraced him and fell on his neck and kissed him, and they wept. Who knew? What was the fear about? The fear of an unknown. Who knew? Time has already fixed it. And he lifted up his eyes and saw the women and the children and said, Who are those with thee? And he said, The children which God hath graciously given thy servant. You see, he's calling himself his servant. Humility. This is not now Jacob. Jacob is gone. Jacob has been left. In the land of Laban, Jacob has been left aside. This is now Israel. Israel is more humble, has a lot of humility, a lot of respect for the brother. Israel will not now steal things from the brother. Israel is not Jacob, and Jacob is not Israel. Israel is a different person. Israel is this one calling himself servant of Esau. Israel is now lesser than Esau in terms of humility. Israel is applying the washing of feet of the disciples, the activity done by Jesus Christ in the New Testament. And Leah also with her children came, verse 7, near and bowed themselves. And after came Joseph near and Rachel, and they bowed themselves. And he said, What meanest thou by all this drove which I met? And he said, These are to find grace in the sight of my Lord. The respect for the brother. And Esau said, I have enough, my brother, keep that thou hast unto thyself. What you have given out, you have been told to keep. And Jacob said, Nay, I pray thee, if now I have found grace in thy sight, then receive my present at my hand, for therefore I have seen thy face, as though I had seen the face of God, and thou wast pleased with me. Take, I pray thee, my blessing that is brought to thee, because God hath dealt graciously with me, because I have enough. And he urged him, and he took it. You see this part, eh? This is what Joseph will do with the brothers. That is why it's being mentioned. Part of the reason. In Egypt, Joseph will do the same to the brothers. Joseph has learned from the father. Take, I pray thee, my blessing that is brought to it, because God hath dealt graciously with me, and because I have enough. And he urged him, and he took it. And he said, Let us take our journey, and let us go, and I will go before thee. And he said unto him, My Lord knoweth that the children are tender, and the flocks and herds with the young are with me. And if men should overdrive them one day, all the flocks will die. Let my Lord, I pray thee, pass over before his servant, and I will lead on softly according as the cattle that goeth before me, and the children be able to endure until I came unto my Lord unto Seir. And Esau said, I hope you are reading with me so that you can see the spellings of this text. And again, I want to reiterate, this is KJV. A lot of reasons to this text being KJV. And Esau said, Let me now live with thee some of the folk that are with me. And he said, What needed it? Let me find grace in the sight of my Lord. So Esau returned that day on his way unto Seir. You see, he still doesn't want to go with Jacob because of the respect and all that. And also the entourage of Jacob is a bit young. The children and cattle and all that. Verse 17, And Jacob journeyed to Succoth and built him an house and made booths for his cattle. Therefore the name of the place is called Succoth. Verse 18, And Jacob came to Shalem, a city of Shechem, which is in the land of Canaan, when he came from Padanarim, and pitched his tent before the city. And he bought a parcel of a field, where he had spread his tent at the hand of the children of Hamor, Shechem's father, for 100 pieces of money. And he erected there an altar, and called it El-El-O-He Israel. God, the God of Israel. He is now back to Canaan. He has bought land in Canaan. He has built a tent in Canaan. May you find your Canaan. May you buy land in your Canaan. May you put up a temple in Canaan, or an altar. And remember, you are now the altar. All right? Find yourself. Build yourself. Establish yourself in the Spirit of the Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. Let's leave it there. Then the next chapter is chapter 24. Genesis chapter 34. Right? We look at a lot of things now there. We look at a lot of things there. A lot of things there. Okay? Thank you. See you on the next one.